welcome to the Lezlie Show. Woo! We are going to have a good time today. We are going to be talking about Italian food. There's a historical restaurant that opened up in Old Town Orcutt. Mr. Bob Spallino opened it up, and his restaurant is called Pizzeria Bello Forno. So come on and check out the show. Woo! Well, welcome. It's so good to have you on the show.
Nice to be here.
Yeah. So tell me, what inspired you to start up this restaurant?
Good food, good atmosphere, and just having a good time and showing people a good time. That's our goal. That's our mission. We have a passion for food, passion for pizza. So that's...
Okay, well, I take it that you are Italian, and I've heard through the grapevine that you just got back from Italy. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, so do you get some of your ideas for your food because you've gone to Italy, or what inspired you? And tell me about some of the dishes you make.
Well, what inspired us was originally moving to Santa Maria, and there weren't a lot of restaurants and a lot of options available, so I figured, you know what, I'm just going to learn how to cook. So via the internet, via trade shows, I've been to a lot of pizzerias around the country, ones I've read about, ones that are featured in magazines, and I just sort of developed a real interest in it and a real passion for it. And we started a catering business 12 years ago with Roger and Diana Strasbaugh, and people were raving about the pizza, and they said, you got to open up a restaurant, you got to open up a restaurant. And we would go into private homes, we were private chefs for hire, and we go into homes and people say, man, I just got back from Italy and this is as good as what we have, if not better. And so we have a lot of Italian influence, but we also aren't locked into Italian. So the purists won't see us as Italian, but our foundation is based upon Italian Naples style crust and ingredients, and then we kind of veer from there. Any pizza that tastes really good, we'll try it in the restaurant.
Well, I'll tell you what, I had gone to a party about 6 months ago, and I tried the pizza, and I thought, oh my gosh, this pizza is great. And I am from Chicago, so I know what a good Chicago pizza is. And I've been all over the world. I've been to Italy and several other places, but that pizza was amazing. I was just wondering, do you share your secrets of how you make this pizza? Because the crust was just unbelievable, and I don't know what you do that's different, but... Can you share some of your tips on making such a good pizza?
Well, yes, I could share some of the tips. The tips is using really good ingredients.
Okay.
And there's a plethora of information on the internet. So if you want to make really good pizza, and pizza's a little bit like wine.
Okay.
Everybody has their own philosophy on pizza. Everybody has their own philosophy on wine. Some people like a heavy-bodied red. Some people like something a little bit lighter. And pizza crust and pizza is the same thing, whether it's Chicago deep dish or a New York style pizza or a Naples style pizza. Okay. I just tend to like a lighter crust and load up on flavor and not have a big, thick, heavy pizza.
Okay.
And so, cooking a pizza Naples style, you could Google it and have a recipe in 5 minutes.
Okay.
So. But you got to have a passion to stay on it because there's a lot of things that influence the dough and the temperature and the water and the other things you add to it, the yeast and those kinds of things. But and there's courses you can actually take. I actually got certified in Naples-style pizza making 12 years ago. You either had to go to New York or Marina del Rey to get certified, and that's where you spend 3 or 4 days in an Italian restaurant. You make the dough, you make fresh mozzarella from mozzarella curd. And so you learn all the Naples-style way of doing things, and so then they give you a certificate and you're certified.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so tell us, do you buy your ingredients here in Santa Maria, or do you order them, or where do you get your ingredients?
A lot of ingredients come from importers.
Importers, okay.
In Santa Maria, there really isn't anybody who carries the products we use. We want to build a product line and a menu of food that's not easily duplicated, because when you go out, you want to have something special.
Right,
and so
exactly.
My wife and I, we tend to look everything through that lens. What would we want to do? How would we want to eat? What are we looking for when we go out to dine? And often we're underwhelmed when we go out, and every once in a while there's a standout, and the standouts are usually unusual.
Okay.
We just didn't want another Me Too experience, whether it was the food itself or the service or the atmosphere for that matter.
Right, right. Well, what would you say is one of your most popular dishes?
Well, our most popular dish is we have 3 or 4 pizzas that are extremely popular. We have a pear and prosciutto pizza, which is very popular. It's the saltiness of prosciutto di Parma with Bosc pears with a really nice cheese blend, which is really unusual but very popular. We have a mushroom pizza, a wild mushroom pizza we're doing with a shallot cream sauce, which is something we added probably about a month ago. That's really taken off. We do a salumi pizza with caramelized onions on it.
Oh my goodness!
Which is very popular. So there's a lot of pizzas. As I look at the demographics of our sales mix in the restaurant, it's really kind of spread all over the board. And when people try one, they want to try another. And so a lot of times they'll do a half of one pizza and a half of another, so they can experience two types of pizzas. But one of the most popular ones is one of the most simple ones. It's sausage and pepperoni. That's one of the most.
And that's the most popular.
That's one of the most popular because I think it's that's American pizza right there, and that's a safe place to start. But we use really good sausage from the oldest North American sausage maker in the country, which is Molinari, which happens to be in the Bay Area. Okay. So they've been in business a very long time, and they have a real artisan flair for sausages and cured meats that we use in the restaurant a lot.
Okay. I have a feeling that's because we're in Santa Maria, why that's the most popular pizza. I bet if you were in Santa Barbara or some other city, one of your other pizzas would be more popular. What do you think?
Could be. Santa Maria is meat and potato town, and but there's also a nice broad-based clientele of people that really want something different than meat and potatoes, and so we didn't want to do more tri-tip. I love tri-tip. So I don't want to alienate anybody who loves tri-tip. I love tri-tip, but we just want to just kind of springboard out of our catering that was so well received into the restaurant and and then just embellish what we've been doing on the catering side.
Okay, yeah. Well, the other thing I was impressed with your restaurant is the atmosphere. It was so historical. I was thinking, where did you come up with these ideas? You need to see this place. It really is different. And tell us how you came up with the ideas and how some of the furniture was made.
Well, it was kind of a work in progress. I left my day job back in January, and I hooked up with a couple friends, Mia Rallier and Dave, who's a lighting guy. Mia is a kind of a design person, and then James Halsell, who's a popular builder in town. We got together, we had several meetings, and we wanted to take it in a different direction, and so we bounced around some ideas, but as we started to demolish the building and rip up the floor, things started to kind of come together. When I pulled up the wood floor, I found out on the bottom side there was a stamp where the mill was, and the bottom of the floor was actually in pretty good shape because I wanted to use the floors, but the top had so much stuff on it I couldn't refinish it. So I Googled the mill, and the mill closed in 1918. And so we ended up making tables out of the flooring. So we have a lot of tables in the restaurant made out of the wood flooring, and it's over 100 years old. So that's that just kind of came up through the process, and I resourced a lot of things online and found some old church pews from a Chinese Christian church in Santa Barbara.
In Santa Barbara,
that they were getting rid of or wanted to sell. So I went down there with a trailer and bought a bunch of church pews, and we modified them and custom modified the ends and then cut them to length. And so those are in the restaurant. And Santa Barbara City College was demolishing their basketball gym, and they were getting rid of their gymnasium bleachers. So I said that would make really cool shelving. So we made lots of shelving out of used bleachers, and then when we're digging up under the floor and replumbing the building, we found bottle caps from the 20s and 30s, the old cork-back bottle caps, Hires Root Beer, Coca-Cola, 7-Up, and a few others, and we did some bottle cap art in the restaurant. And then the big showcase piece was the oven we had imported from Tuscany. That came over on a ship. It weighs 4,000 pounds and comes in modular 6 pieces, and we brought it in piece by piece and assembled it in the restaurant.
Oh my goodness.
And then we had some unique lighting from Wendy Steller, who had some resources, and we wanted different kind of lighting, and so it all just kind of came together. Every time we discovered something, how could we use this? And it ended up turning out to be a very interesting place.
My goodness, you have a really creative mind. So, tell me, did you just Google things on the internet, or how did you find these places that were going out of business to put them in your restaurant?
Well, I got on the internet a lot, and I looked at other restaurants and pizzerias. I knew we didn't want to do country western, and I knew we didn't want to do the wine barrel thing because that's very prominent on the Central Coast. Lots of great places, but we wanted something different. So started looking more the retro industrial lane.
Okay.
And then got into some black pipe shelving and stuff, and just through Googling things and getting on Craigslist and searching all kinds of places, I just bumped into stuff, and I spent quite a bit of time digging around, driving all over the place, finding things to put in the restaurant.
Okay. Well, I'm wondering too, what are some of the challenges you've encountered opening up this restaurant?
Well, a 100-year-old building plus was the biggest challenge. Once you don't know what you're getting into, we knew we were going to get into some issues, and we did, and it took actually almost a year to build out an existing building, but the plumbing, the electrical, and then permitting process can be challenging at times. Santa Maria is very busy. There's a lot of activities, so I'm sure the building departments are super busy with all the new development going on in the area. But that was the biggest challenge. Putting it together was actually fun, but the gut problems of electrical and plumbing was probably the biggest challenge we had.
Mm-hmm. I bet that cost a lot of money to build that.
It cost more than we had anticipated. We ended up, we knew it was going to, everyone says, hey, whatever it is, bump it up. And so we had bumped it up, but thankfully we had enough resources to plow through it and plan for issues which we ran into. The biggest challenge in the restaurant really is the size of the back kitchen. It's very, very small footprint.
Oh, that would be difficult.
So we're trying to expand our menu, and with the kitchen as small as it's challenging. So that's probably the biggest challenge, is the kitchen, and then just the building out the hard stuff of the plumbing and the electrical, which are things I don't mess around with.
Okay. Well, I noticed too, your staff is just exceptional. How did you get the people to work for you? Did you go through 100 applicants and maybe out of 100 you got 10, or they're just very friendly and upbeat in there?
Well, we kind of did exactly that. We put out an ad for staff, and we probably interviewed 60 to 70 people, and we tried to scare them all away. We told them, hey, if you want to be in a Me Too restaurant, and if you just want a JOB job, you're not going to be happy here, because we're looking to do something unique and something special. We want people to walk in the door and feel different, like they've been transplanted out of their hassle of their day or whatever's going on in their life. We want them to walk through that door and just feel good. We talked a lot about training, and we didn't spend any time, very little time training about wine. We have some people that are knowledgeable on wine, but we spent very little time on wine. We spent a lot of time on how do you engage a customer? What do you do when a customer walks in the door? So we took a different approach, and the bottom line with our staff is their job is to make people feel good. Mm-hmm. And everything has to go through that filter. Make the people feel good, make them feel special. And they've done a great job.
I've gone to a lot of places, and some of the people look at you like they're doing you a favor by being in there, and they're looking at their clocks. Oh, I can get out of here soon. And I'm just wondering, what do you think makes a good staff? How do you train them to be a good waiter or waitress or cook? Or how do you train somebody to be engaging? Is that an innate gift people have, or do you feel it can be learned, or how does that work?
Certain aspects can be learned. The technical aspects can be learned. But people either like people and are naturally friendly, or they're not. I learned you really can't train people to be nice and be friendly and be happy. And so they have to be professionals when they're in the restaurant. And if they're having a bad day, they can't bring it in the restaurant. They got to fake it. So you have to be an actor or an actress
right.
When you're in the restaurant business, or at least in our restaurant. And but training, we just spend a lot of time, try to point out little things as we go along, because we started with all new staff, all new cooks, so it was pretty challenging. Actually, that's probably the biggest challenge was taking all new people and making it work.
I can imagine with all these different personalities that you put together. So how many different chefs do you have?
Well, we got about 6 cooks.
Oh, 6, okay.
Right. And a lot of part-time.
Okay.
2 are my sons.
Oh, 2 are your sons.
So it's a little bit of a family gig there.
How does it work having a family business?
It's actually, family can be tough, but I'm hopeful my oldest son, Stefan, can kind of take the helm someday as soon as he learns more about the business side of things. But it feels good to be in a place where you get lots of compliments, and that's the good news. Is I think that encourages the staff. They know they have a restaurant and represent a restaurant that really cares about what happens to the customer. It really cares about the food quality, and really want to deliver a top-notch experience to every guest that walks in the door. That's the goal.
Right, right. Well, where do you see yourself in the future? I know right now whenever I go in there, it's packed. People can't all seem to manage to get in there, and I'm thinking it's probably just a matter of time before you expand your restaurant. Is that right?
Well, the first expansion is going to be sidewalk dining at the restaurant.
Sidewalk.
So I already got the permit for that. So we're actually going to have probably 3 or 4 little tables right outside the front window.
Oh.
And we'll put heaters out there, and we'll have a little area kind of marked off that we have to do legally to serve alcohol and serve wine. So we only have 8 tables in the restaurant, and then we have bar counters. So adding 3 or 4 more tables makes a big difference in a little restaurant. So we're going to see how that does, and then we're considering expanding down the road, but we'll see how it goes. I'm trying to stay optimistic but cautious. I've seen a lot of restaurants come and go, and they're busy at first, and then they tank in the first year, and all of a sudden everybody's gone. But the good news is we see a lot of regular people coming back multiple times and bringing friends and showing off the restaurant to them and telling us they really like the place and Orcutt needed a place like this.
I've seen that happen myself. So many people get excited about starting all these new businesses in Orcutt, and within a year they're gone. And I feel like your place is different. I don't think that's going to happen because it is such a really outstanding place to go to.
I hope you're right.
I'm sure I am. Well, I love wine. Tell me what type of wine you have.
Well, we have a lot of local wines, and we have a lot of imported wines. When I say a lot, we probably have 25, 30 wines on our wine menu, which is a lot for a pizzeria.
Yeah.
And we're not just trying to be a pizzeria, we're trying to be a real restaurant that specializes in pizzeria. But we use, there's a couple tasting rooms right in Orcutt, Core Winery and Nagy Winery. And so those are very popular wines we serve in the restaurant. And then we have several wines from Paso, some Syrah from Firestone, Petite Syrahs, some Pinot Noirs from this area, and Chardonnays from this area, which it's known for. And then we try to bring in some value propositions wines from Italy for those that are on a budget, which again, we try to use my wife and myself as a filter. We have kids in school and this and that. So we don't want to spend $14, $16 for a glass of wine. We want, man, if I can get a nice glass of wine for $7 or $8, I'm happy.
Right.
So that's what the Italian wines are less expensive than a lot of the Central Coast wines. So we want people to have that option, especially in midweek. Mm-hmm. Going out on the weekend, it's a special occasion kind of thing, but going midweek, and that's the kind of restaurant we want to be. We want to have a price point where you can actually afford to eat there on a Wednesday night.
Right, right.
Share a pizza, have a glass of wine each, and you're not breaking the piggy bank doing it. So, but the wines are fun, and we continue to try new wines. There's so many on the Central Coast.
Oh, there are.
But we have some good reps that know the wines very well, so we rely on them a lot. But every once in a while, we have a tasting in the restaurant with our customers. Not sommeliers, real people. And we just listen to what they say, and if they like the wine and it's priced right, those are the kind of wines we're looking for.
Okay. So you have pizza and you have wine and also salad. So you have the three 3 items, right?
And we have dessert.
Oh, dessert too.
Yeah,
Darn it, I missed out on the
yeah,
dessert.
well, you got to try some of the desserts.
What do you have for desserts and how do you make those?
Well, we have a long-time signature chocolate espresso cake, and we serve it warm with the Grand Marnier whipping cream, a little fresh fruit.
Oh.
And we started to a la mode it with some really good low-fat, actually high-fat, really good ice cream.
Okay.
And we just started serving gelato. And we'll be expanding desserts, and we're going to be expanding the menu too to go beyond more salads, more pizzas, but we're going to be doing a couple pasta dishes.
Oh.
And that's one of the things I was finessing and working on when I just got back from Milan, Italy. I actually took a private one-on-one cooking class, and it was all focused on pasta and handmade pasta, and then also some fried items, squash blossoms and oranginis and things like that. So we're going to have some interesting appetizers very soon as well.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, so there'll be lots of diversity to the menu. Probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks that should be going on.
So do the Italians use a lot of garlic in their pasta? I heard that they use more sugar than garlic, but I don't know if that's
They
true.
don't use as much garlic as everyone says.
That's what I thought.
They're not as much garlic. They're not into salads as much as we are, at least in California. I know I love salads, so I can't get enough salad. I could have I want a salad every time I have dinner, and but a lot of their salads they put meat or prosciutto or braciole on it. But their salads are very, very simple. And that's one thing I like. They use arugula a lot on their salads, which I really like.
Which
a
is
nice peppery
yeah.
arugula. So that was interesting to see because I bopped in and out of restaurants for 3 days straight, in and out of restaurants. And pizzerias on every 3-on-1 block, gelato, 3-on-1 block.
Oh my goodness.
So it's extremely competitive. Oh. So I got to see how we compare and pick up some ideas on some new topping ideas and things like that that are more traditional Italian.
Well, you do have the arugula salads, correct?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
But we're going to be doing more with arugula as well.
What can you all do with arugula? I know I buy it, but I don't know, I put cheese on there, arugula, mushrooms. What do you all put in your salads?
Well, in the one we serve, and we've been serving on the catering for years, has got gorgonzola, a sherry vinaigrette dressing, candied pecans, and some sliced boss pears, and that's a salad that's extremely popular in the restaurant. And it's really different. The dressing is really different, but it's good. Everybody likes it, and we've beta tested it. 12 years of catering, weddings and stuff, and everyone dying to have that salad, so that's very popular. So we're going to be doing more traditional salads with arugula, like they do in Italy, with just lemons, some really good extra virgin olive oil, a little salt, a little pepper, and then we'll accent the salad with maybe some fresh pulled mozzarella we'll be making daily in the restaurant, or some meats as well.
Oh, when do you plan on expanding to all these different dishes?
We're going to start in 2 weeks, but we're going to layer it in. We'll probably add 3 or 4 items every 2 weeks, and by summertime we should be where we want to be.
Oh my goodness.
And that'll keep it interesting for everybody. But we get bored if we're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So we're always going to be evolving and trying new pizza toppings. So if you ever see a good pizza you like and we're not serving it, you got to give me the inside scoop and tell me, hey, you got to try this pizza. But that's how we've learned a lot. We've been to some of the best pizzerias in the country, made special trips just to eat pizza to develop our craft, and that's how we've developed our menu thus far.
Well, as I was saying, I'm from Chicago, and now you've been to Chicago and had the Chicago pizza.
Yes, I have.
And so have you copied a little of their pizzas, or do you feel like your pizza is completely
well,
different?
Chicago is known for the deep dish.
Right.
So that's a style that we could do, but I'm not doing it now.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to get into it. It's pretty heavy.
It is heavy, and yours is more light.
Yeah, and I got heart issues in my family, gene pool, and the Geno's East, 3 inches of cheese and sausage might not be the best diet for me. But I love Chicago pizza. I love New York pizza.
Well,
we love pizza.
Well, it reminds me, there is another pizza place in Orcutt, which I won't mention the name of, that's well known, and they do use a lot of cheese in there. And my husband says, "Ooh, let's forget this place. It's way too fattening." And then when we went to your place, it's like, "Oh, this is much more if you're on a health food, heartfelt diet."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we try to make it healthy as far as pizza can go, and so we do a lot of gluten-free pizza, which is very popular, right? And so we are developing a really strong following there. That gluten-free pizza is really hard to do and have it taste well. It's very difficult to make the dough. It's very difficult to handle the dough, and there's a lot of bad gluten-free pizza crust out there. And so we finally found a way of making gluten-free crust that is really quite good. If you close your eyes, you couldn't tell the difference.
Oh my goodness, I bet a lot of people don't know you have that option.
Yeah, so we're trying to cater to that segment of the market that hasn't been able to have pizza for years and years, and now we have a good option, not just a cardboard crust option, which is what I was used to getting from suppliers and this and that. I never cared for it.
Okay. Well, I've got the sign, we're just about over, but I do want to ask you one more question. Have you ever tried to help other people? And if you were to give advice to somebody that's opening up a restaurant, what would you tell them?
Make sure you have enough money, that's the real world, and have a plan. And we catered. I think that's a great way to start if you don't want to drop a lot of money, because you can spend a tremendous amount of money on starting a restaurant. And if you're going with the hope strategy, I hope it works, or I hope our food is good enough, you're risking a lot. So I would encourage people to try to start catering. It's a lot more work because you're mobile and you got to haul stuff all over the place. But we did that for 12 years.
Oh, okay.
But it became very encouraging, and we knew we had a winning concept before we even opened the doors based on the catering. Versus if we would have gone into a restaurant and spent $500,000 on a restaurant, you don't have to spend that much, but it's extremely expensive unless you're fortunate enough to find a place that's already built out and this guy's gone under. That would be the ideal situation. That would be my suggestion, is find a restaurant you think you could tweak a little bit that's already there, already plumbed, already permitted, and you'll save yourself a lot of money.
Okay. Well, you know what? I think your restaurant is one of the most unique places I've ever been to, and I know you're going to be successful. And I want to thank you for being on the Lezlie Show today.
Well, Lezlie, thanks for having me.
Well, thank you. All right. Well, thanks for joining today. And I want to invite you all to the Orcutt Community Theater. They are doing their very second play called Mama Don't Fly, and it's the second weekend in April. It's Friday and Saturday nights at 7 o'clock and Sunday afternoon at 2. Be there, be square, and have a great day, and don't let anyone take your mojo. Woo!